What's going on, guys? I am Greg. You may already know me, you may not. Well, if you don't, welcome to my video. Today we're going to go over the filter EQ section of the effects tab in battery. There's a lot to go over, so strap in. You have a lot of different options. You have a solid G EQ, a 3-band EQ, low pass, high pass, and bandpass filters, peak and notch filters, and an effects tab. So we'll start off with the solid G EQ. You can affect the low frequencies, the low mids, the high mids, and the highs. Now, if you notice on the low and the high, there's a bell button. That's because the two settings you can have on the low and the high are a low shelf or high shelf, or you can have a bell. Let's see if I can bring that out here. A bell curve. So you have a frequency knob, which is going to select the frequencies you want to affect. You have a gain knob, which is going to determine how much gain you want to add to the area that you're affecting. And you have an output knob, which is going to affect the volume output of the module. And the low mid and the high mid, you'll notice there's a Q band here. And if you don't know what Q is, it's the same thing as bandwidth. It affects how wide or narrow you want the cut or boost to be. Other than that, the knobs are the same. You select the frequencies and you can select the gain and the output. So 3-band EQ, you have band 1, band 2, and band 3, very basic kind of classic EQ. You can select the frequencies, you can select the Q or bandwidth here, and you can select the gain for your boost or cut. You have a low pass, which is a ladder 1-pole low pass filter, a ladder 2-pole low pass filter, a ladder 4-pole low pass filter, and a daft filter. Now, let's discuss poles for a second. Poles are just a way to measure how steep the cutoff is on your EQ. So if you have a 1-pole low-pass filter, it means that you are cutting off all frequencies above the filter at -6 dB per octave. 2-pole would be -12 dB per octave. So per pole you add or subtract another 6 dB from the attenuation, and 4-pole is -24 dB per octave, very steep. The daft filter is a -12 dB per octave, very aggressive low-pass filter. You'll notice there's a resonant peak built into the filter already. You can adjust it there. The cutoff is going to select at what frequency you want to start to attenuate all other frequencies. The resonance is going to add a little boost around the cutoff frequency if you so choose to do so. If you choose to do so, and the gain is going to add, you can use this to either as makeup gain or to add some light saturation of the effect. The high pass is the exact opposite of the low pass. So instead of cutting off all the high frequencies, we're cutting off the low frequencies and allowing all the high frequencies to pass through. It has the same settings. You have the 1-pole low pass, the 2-pole, high pass, the 2-pole high pass, the 4-pole high pass, and the daft. And, oh, that was good. And they do the same thing, just in the opposite direction. They'll do this to high frequencies rather than the low frequencies. And you have a bandpass here, which is a ladder 2-pass. And if you remember, just discussed it, it is -12 dB per octave, -24 dB per octave. This is on both sides. This combines low pass and high pass filters into one. And you have a gain knob here. Again, as I said, you can add either as makeup gain, or you can add a little bit of saturation with the gain knob. Now, with the SV2P, this is defined as a clean by our bandpass filter, there's no gain knob. So I'm assuming you don't really have the opportunity to add any saturation through gain. And this is, of course, an SV4P, which would be -24 dB per octave on both sides. So, okay, and then you get the peak notch filter. This is the ladder peak. You can add a resonant peak wherever you'd like to. Cutoff selects the frequency that you're putting it at. The resonance turn this down a bit. This boosts around the cutoff frequency that you selected, and the gain, again, add a little bit of saturation or makeup gain to your liking. This is the notch filter, which is going to add a couple notches on each side of the cutoff frequency that you select and the resonant peak that you've selected. So as you can see, there's a notch here, And the SV notch, this is a 4-pole, I believe, notch filter. So you can attenuate all the frequencies around a specific frequency you select with the cutoff knob. And this is the clean band reject filter. This just attenuates frequencies at the cutoff point. And then you have the effects tab here, which is pretty cool. This is format 1 and format 2. This is vowel A and vowel B, and this is the phaser tab. Now, format 1 and format 2 are designed to emulate the human vocal tract, the frequency response of the human vocal tract. So this could be used for like talk box effects, I believe. That's what they were saying. And talk selects the frequency response. Wants you to select the area, the frequency response. Sharp is going to adjust the peaks and valleys, the notches and the peaks. And size is going to select the amount of the frequency range you want to affect, and that's the same on format 1 and format 2. Vowel A, this adjusts, or this is designed to emulate the resonant frequencies of the human vocal tract. Same with vowel B. And you just have a cutoff knob here and a resonance knob. You can adjust to taste. And the phaser, this adds, this is a comb filter. That's what they call it. And it really messes with the phase of any sound you put through it. And if you've ever heard a phaser, it kind of has this like swooshy sound. Very cool, very interesting. So very cool effect. These are very CPU intensive, just for the record. And you're going to want to make sure they're off if you're not using them immediately. So guys, that was it. Hopefully you learned a little bit. I'll go over EQ in another video and really go a little bit more in depth as to what these things are used for and how to use an EQ. Like I said, I just wanted to go over the options you had today in battery because you have a ton. So as always, guys, have a great day and happy producing.